Yo, 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 it's your boy Colin, aka Colin Trade CSP, back with you with another video. I do apologize as I was off last week and unable to make a video. Unfortunately, I was out of town and out of the country, and so I was basically just taking a little vacation off away from everything. As you saw when it came to the overall stock market, we had pretty terrible price action. And then on top of that, when it came to the overall war, it was a little bit up and down, understanding when it came to peace talks were good and then bad and then good and then bad overall. So I did step away for a couple days when it came to last weekend and just kind of relax, trying to understand, the touch some grass essentially and just enjoy my vacation. And now I'm back with you with a new week, new video. As we saw this coming week, we had interesting price action to the upside. People think that, the war could be finally almost over. But then come this Sunday, currently it is 2 o'clock, just about an hour or two ago, Vance Joseph and the negotiation with the Strait of Hormuz deal that has basically been concluded, and it doesn't look like the what we want type of deal has been done. So basically what I've been reading is that Iran has denied the deal due to when it came to giving away their enriched uranium, so they do not want that to happen. And so the deal has been off, and overall, it looks like the U.S. wants to take over the Strait of Hormuz themselves and basically allow for ships to come through. A lot of talks about Iran and also China, China giving the Iran weapons when it comes to helping the war. So now Trump is adding tariffs to China, a 50% increase if they do or is caught arming the current war that's going on between Iran, the US, and Israel. So a lot of things has happened these past couple of hours, but also this past week. So it looks like we most likely, as of right now, it looks like we probably will see a gap down come Monday morning when it comes to taking in all of this information. But also what's going to happen is everything that we saw these past couple of days with these green markets, multiple green markets, I believe it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday also, is, that could most likely be erased with this gap down in this news that happened today. So we're basically, like always, we're going to review the markets. We're going to see economic data to see if there's anything else on the other side to take a look forward to. And basically just play key levels. So I'll basically explain the news like we always do here every week, explain the economic news, see what the futures market looks like for maybe possible upcoming trades, and then just play our levels. Get ready for a new trading week and just get ready for what's up in store when it comes to this current price action that we're getting. All right, so let's jump into the news first. Looking at the economic calendar, nothing really that we need to pay attention to like crazy, like last week with CPI and what's it called? PCE, I believe it was last week, coming on Thursday and Friday. But really the only thing that we have to pay attention to Tuesday with PPI, Producer Price Index, how much it costs when it comes to producing the product to sell to the customers, if that has increased or not. Really nothing else, as you can clearly see, 5 p.m. And 1, really nothing crazy to look at. Monday, I did skip by, but existing home sales, Fed speaking after hours at 6:20, so really nothing happening there on Monday. Come Wednesday, import price index, really to pay attention to, Empire State. These are really not really market movers. We do have a Fed speaker at 8:30, but nothing extreme market movers that we need to pay attention to, but something just have in the back of your head. Fed Beige Book at 2. That one's something relevance I would highly recommend keeping an eye on when it comes to that. But other than that, really nothing on Wednesday morning. Thursday, initial jobless claims. That is a little market mover. You'll probably see a little spike here and there, going to the up or downside. So I would definitely pay attention to this. Fed manufacturings, 835 industrial productions, yeah, capacity, like really nothing other than probably I'll be paying attention to is that initial jobless claims. And then Friday really is a nothing burger. There's really just Fed speakers, nothing, not Jerome Powell. So nothing really crazy when it comes to the economic news this week, but something to keep an eye on is this Tuesday PPI, Producer Price Index. All right. Now, like I said, going into the news, what I've read is that unfortunately we were unable to make a deal with Iran when it comes to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. They tried to force Iran to not continue with their nuclear powers. Iran said no, and as of right now, it looks like this will just be continuing on for this long so-called deal that we're trying to get through with the Strait of Hormuz, allowing ships to come through. Oil prices will most likely spike off of this news, and basically we just continue this up and down roller coaster when it comes to the stock market due to the fact because of this war situation that's going on. So just like I said, all we can do as of right now is pay attention to key levels, allow for the market to come to us, and then just continue out that way. So as you can see clearly, when this news did come out, we did see a major reaction overall in the weekends market. I do take this information with a grain of salt until 6 p.m. on Sundays when the actual futures market opens up. But as of right now, looking at the weekend market, we did see a major sell-off once the news came out behind the scenes, and then once the news came out here, we're down currently 1.5% on the low end of 24,694. So we did, looking like it, break the psychological of 25,000 that we had held going into the end of Friday. So that is some key level that I'll be paying attention to as we come in on Monday morning. But this, it looks to be right now, as of right now, the tech NQ looks to be down 1.5% going into that 6 p.m. So something to pay attention to as we get closer to 6 p.m. All right. So now looking at this overall of the futures, NQ, ES, and Bitcoin, that's something I'll be paying attention to as we play. We did see this major spike off when it came to Tuesday, April 7th, and then just the continuation follow through all the way up to past 25, all the way up to holding that into 25, roughly around 25.3, came down and now holding this 4-hour support. If we do decide to gap down below this 25,000 psychological level, then I will most likely be keeping an eye on this 24.8 area as potential support. Allow the EMAs to catch up, as this move to the upside on the daily has been exponential. But also, if you do see this, if you do trade ICT, is we do have a daily FEG right around this area. So I would definitely have some type of confluence in this to see if we can hold in this area. Of course, if the market continues lower, then we'll play this level. But as you can see, this level has held multiple times. And then like I said, we do have a daily FEG on NQ roughly around this 25.7 area. So if you do play this, I would definitely keep an eye on this area for potential bounces on the short term to run back up into this 25.2 that was support and now could possibly be resistance coming in to the middle of the week. So these are probably key levels I'll be paying attention to as of right now if we do decide to gap down. Now, of course, with this news just coming out, the market will most likely be absorbing this Monday morning with such a major gap down. So something I would just make a note is allow for the market to absorb this information. Do not trade the first 30 minutes, just the fact because we have such a major gap down, more than at least 1%. It's going to take some time for the market to absorb that. Once it does, then that's when you can play the key levels. But as of right now, this will probably be my area that'll be keeping an eye on as a potential bounce. Or if we do decide to break, then I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 4-hour support area that I marked out, roughly around that 24,000 psychological level. But that is it for NQ. Now, when it comes to ES, what do you call it? The same thing, same concept. As you can see, again, we do have a daily FEG right here. And if we do decide to gap down, I do have a major support, a 4-hour support here, roughly around the 6,800. So if we do get basically a 50-point move to the downside, then I would love this 6,800 area to hold as potential support. But if we do decide to break down, we are playing in a daily FEG. So, it's very hard to say exactly what I would want to play unless we get to these key areas. So I would be looking at maybe rejections at 6,800 if we do decide to gap down below that for another leg down. Or if we continue to fall at open, allowing the market to absorb, then 66 to 6,500 as for potential bounces. Those will be the two key levels, as we will most likely be opening up in the middle of this range if we do decide to gap down. So I would just definitely keep an eye on these two middle areas right around this area, in this area. All right. Another thing I always like to keep an eye on is Bitcoin over the weekend. As you can see, we had a pretty nasty sell-off these past couple of minutes. Looking at the bigger one, once the news came out Saturday, roughly around before the end of the day, that's probably before the headlines came out, probably insider information. I'm not trying to basically I have a disclaimer there. This is all I have no financial advice or anything, but this is probably most likely insider selling once the news came out to them, and then once it breached out to the local news and everything, and all the major prompters were basically providing this information, we had the continuation sell-off. We did break this we did tap this 70,000 area and did bounce. I would like this to continue to basically trade back into the 72 for a potential bounce area or rejection if we want to. But like I said, all of this news, all of this information that we've taken the past couple days, as you saw in ES and NQ, we were making very, very solid progress and continuation run. But like I always have preached in my previous videos, is that I don't think this market is bullish until Bitcoin gets over 75,000 and holds 75,000. That's been a key level that's held for a very long time. And it's unable to break the 75. It attempted it there, rejected, attempted it there, rejected, attempted it there, rejected. And since we've fallen in, we've been unable to break above this 75,000 area. So that is a key level I would be keeping an eye on and respecting until we break above the 75 for this market to have an idea that I'm not currently bullish. But again, that's me personally, not financial advice or anything. But again, this is my own personal opinion and what I think about the overall market. I wouldn't be bullish and putting serious position in unless we get back over 75,000 on Bitcoin. And of course, when it comes to like ES and NQ, me personally, if you start to zoom out, if you are bullish in this market, you could be. This could have been a nice overall bounce, and we're basically trading. But at the end of the day, your risk to reward is not the best, as we're currently trading at 68,000. All-time highs is 7,000. So you're only making roughly around 150 points to new highs. If I wanted to target the downside, then I'd rather do that, target the downside. And you're like, right now we're gapping down the same amount of points what it is to get to all-time highs. So I like downside more, so that you can basically start new positions and basically start to funnel back to the upside for a better move from like 63 all the way back to 7,000 compared to 68 going to 7,000 for new highs. So as of right now, I'm going to be continuing to stay neutral. As you can clearly see, we did break some higher highs. We did break this high. We did break this high. But now let's see if we can have this continuation for lower highs. as we have a daily FEG here. This will solidify if we're able to hold here for a new higher high back to all-time highs, and then just continue slowly grinding back up to making new all-time highs. So overall, like I said, I will stay neutral until Bitcoin gets back over 75, but also allow for this market to absorb this information when it comes to the war in Iran and Israel. And until that official war is over, we get Fed rate decisions to cut potentially, then those will be the key inflection points that I believe that this market can definitely start to move higher. But as of right now, with oil prices at what it is and the Iran war going on, that's basically holding this market down until we get some clear guidance on how we plan on moving forward. But as of right now, all we can do is what I'm going to be doing is just playing key levels, continue to trade off these key levels, and make sure that I minimize my risk due to the fact because it can literally reverse with a single tweet. So with that being said, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am moving away from these 3 individual stock ideas that I've been preaching, just the fact because of I only currently right now is trade futures. So I just daily trade that. So I don't really individually trade the stocks. I can give ideas if you guys wish, but as of right now, I just trade ES and NQ. So I will stick to just basically providing that information for right now until I get back to trading individual names, which then helps myself trade that week as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And like I said, just make sure to trade smart and trade safe. Make sure to minimize your risk in this market, as we currently do not know the direction we could be going in. This could be going to new highs, or we could be making a dead cat bounce to new lows. So all I can say is make sure to minimize your risk and trade smart. And then just wait for this war to be over with for making serious decisions on your equity portfolios. All right. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Let's get back at it. And I'm going to be posting every day, weekly, or not every day, but weekly videos back at it. And, hopefully don't miss one for a while. And then I'll let you guys know when I'm basically taking off again. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Trade smart, trade safe, discipline over dopamine, and let's have a good trading week. Peace.